Hey guys, welcome to the Conquer Food Show. My name is Craig Williams, your host today, and I'm joined by Lisa Upton from Euphrenity, who's got an incredible story. Pin your ears back, grab yourself a coffee and a notebook because this is going to be an absolute belter. So I'm not going to trash your history and your story by trying to tell it myself. So it'd be great, Lisa, if you could just kick us off with a little bit of like how you ended up here. You know, what are the big pivotal moments in your past? And how is this going to be an inspirational story for people listening?
Okay, I'll do my best. So Euphrenity was founded in 2016 now. So it goes way back. So when I was 14, I was diagnosed with a benign brain tumour. And I was told that they'd never be able to operate on it because it was really close to an area of my speech and language. So the years kind of passed and I continued to live with this essentially ticking time bomb, which is how they sort of talked about it. One day it might burst, it might bleed, and it could kill me. And I also had to live with the epilepsy as a bit of a result of this tumour. And then one day, a few years ago now, they said to me, do you know what, we think we might actually be able to get this tumour out.
We think.
And I was like, what, brain surgery? No way, like I'm all right, you know, I'm good. My life's pretty okay, to be honest. Got a good job, got a family, I'm good. But I always went to sleep every night kind of a little bit scared that I wouldn't wake up because every time I had a seizure, it would be in my sleep. So there was always that underlying dread, that feeling. I really struggled with my sleep, really bad insomnia and things like that. So this picture was painted of this life without a ticking time bomb, without epilepsy, but with very, very minimal guarantees. So I decided it was, you know, a journey I might want to embark on. I saw 7 surgeons and every single one of them was like, there's no way I'm doing that operation. You've got more to lose than you've got to gain.
And was it just this, sorry to jump in because I'm enthralled, but was it the size of the tumour, or was it the location, or a combination of all those factors?
So it was the location more than anything. Like I say, really close to the area of speech and language. So eventually I found a surgeon that was willing to do it. I Googled him and I was like, you know, Googled the best brain surgeon in the world. A guy called Andrew McAvoy came up, and I remember going to see him really like vividly. And I said, listen, Andy, I've Googled you. You're the best surgeon in the world. You can get this out, right? And he said, I can, but it's at what cost? I can get anything out of the human brain, but you know, you are going to probably be left in a worse position than you are now. And he explained that I'd probably have to learn to talk again, read and write. 50% chance of stroke, brain hemorrhage, all of those things. So it wasn't painting a particularly attractive picture. Every single person in my life said, there's no way you should do this. Your life is good. Why would you take this chance? Doesn't make any sense. So what I will say at this point is, I don't know whether any of the listeners have ever had this, but I felt this overwhelming feeling that it was the right thing to do, despite
like it
not, like an intuition.
So it's just in front of your mouth, that's it.
This phenomenal feeling, which I call the hum, which is exactly what you said, it's intuition. And I'd never felt it before, I don't think, before that moment. And I remember even going into surgery that morning and my family were crying, they were really upset, why are you doing this? Why would you do this? But this feeling was my comfort and my almost like my guide. I knew that it was the right thing to do.
And was you given a percentage of you know, whether it go right, whether it go wrong, or?
So there was a 80% chance that I'd have to learn to talk again, read and write. 50% chance that it might get rid of the epilepsy. So, you know, half, and a 50% chance that as a result of that, I could potentially reduce my medication. So I was taking a lot of medication to control the seizures. But the overriding thing that all of the surgeons said is if you have it done, you're going to have to be wide awake.
Wow.
And I was like, what?
Talk to me about how you felt when that news was delivered. I mean, was that a shock? Did you know it was coming?
No, I didn't know it was no, not at all. No, not at all. And this is a question I get asked a lot. And awake brain surgery is just hard to articulate. I mean, I remember, you know, they build you up for it. They say, okay, we're going to put you to sleep for the nasty part where we essentially drill a hole in your head, and then we're going to wake you up and you're going to be surrounded by loads of people. But we're going to need you to read some stories and do some mathematical equations from an iPad. So I remember that moment when I woke up in theatre, literally surrounded by I sent like hundreds of people, but it's probably only like 20, 30 people.
Still a lot.
Yeah, still a lot. And you know when they say you're going to be awake during brain surgery, you kind of think you're going to be quite sedated, but you are wide awake, like literally wide awake.
Yeah.
Completely aware of everything, but just obviously not being able to move your head in any direction because it's in this clamp.
It'd be interesting. I mean, we talk about our 5 senses and we kind of walk through that because I want to get a real good feeling for what it was like in that moment if you're up for it. But, what could you smell? What could you feel? What could you see? What could you hear?
I think this is probably the only moment in my life I've ever had this feeling, but I felt everything. I saw everything, felt everything, could smell everything. It was like everything was heightened, like to the next level. And I still felt this overriding sort of warmth inside, for want of a better word, that this was the right thing to do. And even as they were kind of messing around with my brain, my speech would go blurry. I would struggle to speak. Yeah, become slurred. And I was thinking at times, is this the right thing to do? But still that feeling kept me going.
And I think you was committed.
Yeah, I was committed at that point, yeah. But that feeling 100% got me through it.
Yeah. And was there any moment where you thought, or since, have you heard that there was like complications or, what? Did it run pretty smooth?
So, it went on for 10 hours and I came out and I felt amazing. I felt euphoric. But shortly after that, I couldn't talk. So I lost the ability to talk. And it was like I knew exactly what I was wanting to say. It was all in my head, but it was just coming out in a totally random order. So it took me about a year to learn to read and write again. I had to learn to read and write and speak. So I had a lot of speech therapy going on.
And how old was you at this point?
So it was only 4 years ago. So
really?
I was like 38. But again, I don't think there was ever a moment I thought, I don't think I've made the right decision. I always knew it was probably going to be a long process and it would come at a cost, but I kind of saw that it would be worth it. I felt that it would be worth it.
I'm pretty sure it's impossible to go through that and for it not to change the course of your life. And how has it changed your life?
Oh God, in far too many ways to articulate. But I thought brain surgery, that was the moment that would change everything. But I think what's happened since then and working with the hospital. So after that, they asked me to take part in a program called the Emotion Code, where effectively I gifted my brain to them. So they did a lot of tests on it to understand more about human emotions. So they got me to partake in certain activities to measure certain emotions in the brain. So that was what changed my life, being part of the Emotion Code, that particular program, and learning about emotions and how we are 100% in control of what it is we're doing and what it is we're feeling. But we don't often realise that.
Is that regardless of the like anger, like, love, all the emotions, like ultimately you are in control? Is that the message?
Yeah. I think sometimes it feels a lot like we're not in control, and it absolutely does. But we are in control. We're in the driving seat of that.
One of the things we teach a lot on the Conquer Food program is that ultimately, you're in control of your response to events. Like we can't always control the events, but you are in control, and that's a hard message for some people to accept. Have you come across people that kind of struggle with that, and what do you say? What would you say to people?
All the time I come across people that are, I think, conditioned to believe that we're not in control. So it's about reprogramming their thinking process, their thoughts, and obviously their behaviours as well. So there's no quick fix to this. And the program I've developed, How to Attain Euphoria and Serenity, people say all the time, what is the quick fix? How do I do it? And sadly, there isn't one. We live in a world, don't we, where everyone wants that quick fix.
Yeah.
And they want to attain amazing things with little effort. But with everything, you have to put the work in, and you have to be committed, and you have to, more importantly, believe that you can do it.
Yeah. So that's led you to you did all that learning, all that study, and now you're delivering your own programs, your own frameworks. Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so as a result of, as I guess the end result of the program I took part in, the Emotion Code, I learned how to access levels of heightened consciousness and reach better levels of euphoria and serenity. Probably had never experienced those emotions before I took part in that program. So I developed. Is
there anything? Can you give me an example? I know this is we've got a shorter time. We're on a podcast and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, it seems absolutely mind-blowing. It seems like science fiction to me. You know, can you bring it to the ground for me, you know?
How it felt?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious as to like, how can you heighten your...
I see. Yeah, on a practical level.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I go back to the 3 elements of euphrenity. So conscious living. So a big part of conscious living is not allowing our mammalian brain, our subconscious, to hold us back through fear, limiting beliefs, just to live consciously in the moment, making decisions based on the facts that we're presented with and not our, historic behaviour patterns and what we're conditioned to believe.
Yeah.
The second thing, being present. So I talk a lot about right hemisphere, and something which emanates from your right hemisphere is the ability to be totally present, which, if we are present, we actually become more grateful as people, and more focused. So that's the kind of elevation part of it. And then finally, intuition, the thing that brought me here today. We have within us the biggest superpower, the ability to find our way and know where we're meant to be and what we're meant to be doing in this world. And that's a massive part of euphrenity, stripping everything back and learning to trust ourselves and believe that we have the answer, the guide.
It's one of those, it's there deep inside. The great story about the guys that got cut off in the cave. Have you heard that story where a man was cut off in a cave and deep underground, and there was no food really, but there was a lot of fish in the cave with him, and by touch alone, you would grab a fish and they would bite a fish and he would live off the fish, and he lived there forever, whatever. Google it. I don't know, Then when he got out the cave, he found out that the majority of the fish was poisonous, and the only part that you could eat was the bit that he kept biting off, and it was just pure intuition. Now, whether there's any truth in that, I don't know, but Google it and find out. But it's a great little story.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. Yeah. So obviously, I think lots of people, if they've if they're not connected with you and felt inspired by you, they'll definitely want to know more and be curious about what you're talking about. So how can they follow you? How can they get involved in some of the stuff that you're doing?
Okay, so all sort of social media platforms, Euphrenity, and I've got the website, so I'd urge people to have a look at the website. It's got all my events on there and the different courses. So you've got the emotion code, the calibration code, the resilience code, and the reset code. So all details of all the courses, workshops are on there. I'm delivering them up and down the country, obviously in collaboration with Pro Noctis as well, as part of the resilience code, and soon to be doing those abroad as well. So the website, I would say. Yeah,
and for people watching this on YouTube or iTunes or whatever, I'll put some links in the notes below so that people can get in touch with that. So, Lisa, thanks a lot for sharing your story today. Way too brief. Maybe we'll do a follow-up episode another time, sometime. I'm definitely going to be there in Wales on your resilience code weekend, and I know Paul is really keen to get on that well. So maybe we might do a little video whilst that's going on. Anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
I think it's always good for people to know how to spell Euphrenity.
All right.
It will be in the dictionary one day. We're working with the Collins and Oxford Dictionary at the moment. It's on standby. It's about usage, apparently, to get a word in the dictionary. So I would say to all your listeners, use it, hashtag it. Euphrenity, it's EUPHRENITY.
Yeah, you won't be reading your screen by any chance, would you? Brilliant. Lisa, no, thanks a lot. It's been an amazing chat to you. We're heading up to boot camp now to having an extended extended audience with Lisa and learn more about her journey. And I'm really excited about that. So thanks again. Take care.
Thank you.